Shankarupena machittam pankikrutam abhudyaya kinkari yasya sa Maya Shankaracharyam ashraye. By whose grace this Maya pankilam, which is like a mud that is accumulated with not understanding the concept properly, all these illusions are under the control of a Gnani, who is none other than our Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya. By touching his holy feet or remembering the holy feet of Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya, this ignorance Maya will never bind me or never attach me. So that is what we have to worship like this. Here also we have the Maya. So Maya Panchakam. Now very first one. Nirupama nitya niramshakepya khande mayichiti sarva vikalpanadi shunye ghatayati jagadisha jiva bhedam tva ghatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. Very beautiful. So in the very first line, Bhagavad-pada gave the attributes of Brahma Padardham itself, Brahman itself. Nirupama. You cannot say Brahman is like this. You can never say. You can't do any comparison for the Brahman. It is always unique. There is no second object like Brahman because it is Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. We have that in Upanishads again. It is Ekam. It is only one and only one. Why should they say like that? Ekam Eva Advitiyam. If you think everything resembles same, but in this Vyavaharika Jagat there are differences. Swagata, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Bhedas are there. Swagata is something, this is my body, I have hands, head, legs, trunk, etc. So head is different, hands are different, they don't do tasks of one another. They are all separate, there is difference in the body. Sajatiya differences are there. I am Manushya. In Manushya there is female and male. So that is Sajatiya. In the same Jati there are two different, like a male and female. Vijatiya. Vividha Jati, like a human. From Brahmadi Stambha you can see like fish, tree, animals, etc. etc. So like this, the Sajatiya, Swagata, Swajatiya, Vijatiya Bhedas never existed for Brahman. That's why it is called Ekam Eva Advitiyam Brahma. So that is the main reason. That's why you cannot compare. To compare there should be something else, but Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, everything is Brahman. How can you compare? So that's why Nirupama, it is Nirupama. You cannot compare, you cannot match it to anything. Nityam, Nityam is Satyam, it's always been existed. It does not have any time bound. Niramsha Kepya Khande, Niramsha means Avyayam, it does not have any parts like what we have. Akhande, it is not in portions. That's why this is a beauty, Akhandam, Sachidanandam. If Brahman is Khandam, obviously someone can expect always, let me die in this body, after that I can go to some other loka. So call it as moksham. When it will happen? If you have that Khanda Bhavana. When Brahman is everywhere, Vishwam Vishnuhu, Vishwam itself is Vishnu, then what is the thing stopping us to understand? Because Brahma Padartha is Akhandam, it is everywhere, everything in fact. But only that in ignorance, the name and form are superimposed on it. That's why we are unable to experience. That's why in Vishnu Sahasranam you can see Aksharam, Avyaktam Aksharam, you can see all these things. Avyaktam Aksharam Evacha. So everything is same, the same Akshar Brahman. It is Avyaktam Aksharam. Avyakta Aksharam Purusha Evacha. Aksharam Purusha Evacha. That itself, everything is same. Then to give this, and here the very first line, there are attributes of Brahma Padardham, such a great attributes which you cannot compare, which is Akhandam, you cannot split as well. And Mayi Chit Sarva Vikalpanadi Shunye, in my Chaitanyam also I can see that the Chaitanyam belongs to that Brahman itself, it is not mine. All these Pancha Koshas are powered by this Chaitanyam only, even for this body. The first line talks about Sarvantarayami of that Brahma Padardham, Sarvatma Bhavana. But the second line talks about the Brahman which is inside in this very body as well. Ghatayati Jagadisha Jiva Bhedam. Though that Brahman is like Nirupama, Nitya, Niramsha, Akhande, and also in the very body it is like a Sachidananda Chaitanyam, yet people are misled, confused, and having this Dvaita Bhavana of Jagadisha Jiva Bhedam. Jagat is there, Jivam is there, and Ishwara is also there. Oh, how wonderful is this Maya. Aghatita Ghatana Patiyasi Maya, which is making the impossible possible. What is impossible? There is something other than Brahman. That is impossible. But with our experience, that Maya is causing us to believe that there is a Jagat, there is an Ishvara, there is a Jiva, and that is you. In fact, it is giving you a complete wrong notion, wrong understanding, quite opposite. Like when you see in yourself in the mirror, when you lift your right hand, for a fraction of seconds you feel that it is your left hand. So it is like a reverse, you will get it. Likewise, the same Brahma Pathartha, which is the Satchid Ananda itself, Ananda Swarupam itself, but when you are looking it in a reverse, outside or different than you, it is becoming Dukkha Hetu, like a Samsaram, because you are connecting wrongly towards this body and mind, stating that is me, and it is not stopping like that, and you are saying everything is mine or I want, and you are doing some action stating that I am the Karta, and you want to enjoy the benefits, I am the Bhokta. Obviously, to enjoy the benefits, you are in that life and death cycle always. So this is actually the Brahman, your true nature, the Atma itself is never born, Aja, Avyaya. But are you experiencing this? No, you are experiencing completely different. That's why, which is impossible for a Brahman for taking birth. But you are experiencing that. That's why, in a way, Shankara Bhagavad-Padacharya is saying, giving the attributes of Brahman, like Brahma Satyam, and also saying like Jagan Mithya, how wonderful is Maya that you are still believing that you are born, you have attributes, you are into this Jagat, and you are Jiva, and there is an Ishvara. That means you are in delusion, which is not your true nature. It is like a different way of explaining the same concept. So that is the first shloka. For this we can see a pramana from Mundaka Upanishad, just like a sample to support. There is some very well known like Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. There are like two birds sitting on one tree. One is like witnessing and another bird is eating the fruit. But the bird which is eating the fruit is not happy. In fact, the one what is witnessing it is always peaceful. Then they say, because this is a reflection of the bird which is thinking as a Bhokta. Many people read only first shloka and say there are two birds, then Dvaita. Just read two more mantras, then we will understand. Yada Pashya Pashyate Rukmavaranam Kartaramisham Purusham Brahmayonim Tada Vidwan Punya Pape Vidhuya Niranjanaha Paramam Samyamupaiti. When you realize that it is my own form which is neither Karta nor the Bhokta, then you will not feel that pain, that dukkham. Then Paramam Samyamupaiti, then you will become one with the Sakshi. Clearly, just after two mantras, it is clearly mentioned about Advaitam. Then the same bhavanas you can see in the Bhagavad Gita when Bhagavan is explaining about Atma Tattvam. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo ashoshya evacha nityaha sarvagatah sthanu rachaloyam sanatana. Very clear. Same attributes what are mentioned in Maya Panchakam you can see for Brahman, not for Maya. Achedyam, it is akhandam always. You cannot burn it, you cannot destroy it. There is only one. Nityam, Sarvagatam, it is one. It is everywhere, every time. In fact, Achaloyam, it cannot be shaken. Sanatanam, it's been there always. Puratanam in Gita. And in 13th chapter, because here in third line, Ghatayati Jagadisha Jiva Bhedaha. So because we are experiencing the Jiva-Ishwara Bhedam, right, in the Vyavaharika Jagat. But in Gita, in 13th chapter clearly mentioned, Kshetragnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Understand, I am the Kshetragna, the one who is the Sakshi. who is the Sachidananda in Sarva Kshetreshu, all the bodies. Understand, this is only me. That's why what we have to understand, Kshetra Kshetragnayor Gnanam Yat Gnanam Matam Mama, Etat Gnanam Matam Mama. So when you understand what is Kshetram, who is Kshetragna, that means Panchakosha Vicharana when you do, as mentioned in the Taittiriya Upanishad, obviously you will understand the one which is you are thinking as Jiva is nothing but Brahman itself. So by understanding Maya Panchakam, we are also covering Brahman, in a way Advaita Panchakam also. Okay, then second shloka. Shruti Shata Nigamamta Shodhakanam Ahaha Dhanadi Nidarshanena Sadhyaha Kalushayati Chatushpadadhyabhinna Aghatita Ghatana Patiyasi Maya. So that is the beauty of and greatness of Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya. If he gives one shloka like this, it will prove the pramana of Advaitam, like Brahma Satyam, one portion. And secondly, it will also cover the Jagan Mithya aspect. Plus, it will also correct few of our aspects when we are unnecessarily attaching to this temporary materialistic things. Like it will also increase our Vairagyam. Like he is also giving Vivekam, which is Brahman, which is not Brahman. Plus, he is also giving some attributes of how to practice it Vairagyam as well, which is sadhana chatushtayam, which helps there. So what Bhagavad-pada is explaining here is Shruti Shata Nigamanta Shodhakan, people, the Panditas, who are thoroughly doing Abhyasam, practicing the Abhyasam after reading hundreds of Shrutis or Smrutis, even Upanishads, that means Gnana Tattvam itself, they are practicing it. But ahaha, that means what a wonder, Dhanadi Nidarshanena Sadhyaha. But still they are behind all these dhanadis, like wealth and some sensual pleasures to satisfy their some pleasures or something. They are going behind and spoiling their mind. Kalushayati Chatushpadadhyabhinna. They are polluting their mind by going behind wealth and satisfying their own desires, though they studied the Shastras. That's why I said we should not stop till Shravanam. The Manana Nididhyasana play a crucial role. So by polluting their mind, they are not becoming different from any Chatushpada. Here clearly animal only, not Karma Pasha animal, it is very well animal. So that is how it is, they are becoming that. How wonderful, how great is the Maya, making impossible possible. Aghatita Ghatana Patiyasi Maya. Because a person who is studying a Vedanta should become a Vedanti. In fact, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. He will become the Brahman itself. But with the Maya, because what is Maya? Prakruti, Trigunas, because there is no control of his own Indriyas. The sadhaka should control the Indriyas. That's why the Krama Paddhati, the gradual progression, the practice is required, starting from sadhana chatushtayam. If not, this will happen. That is what Bhagavad-pada is alerting us in every shloka. We'll end up in, I know Shastras, but I can't practice. I'm just leading a normal life, like very other animal. So that should not happen. Why it is happening? Because of Maya. Then what we have to do? Mayinantu tarantite. I have to hold the Brahma Padardham. He will take out that Maya. So in Kathopanishad, we can see some like Avidyaya Mantare Vartamanaha Swayam Dhiraha Panditam Manyamanaha. People who are this time, I mean in this generation, you can see self-proclaimed Gnanis. There are everywhere. In fact, they have institutions. So they operate in a different way, like a commercial business way. And they say this is like spiritual, Adhyatmika, Advaita, they tell everything. So these kind of people are, yet they are into avidya, dhiraha pandita manyavamanaha. They think they are intellectuals. But what will happen is dandramyamanaha pariyanti mudha andhenaiva niyamana yadhandhaha. If we follow them, it is like a blind person is following another blind person. So both will fall in pit. It will be very difficult to approach or try to possess knowledge or gain knowledge, thinking to gain knowledge there. It will never happen for sure. That's why. That's why in Isha Upanishad also, avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amrutamashtate. Because when you are in avidya, when you are learning these Puranas, Shastras, Vedas, you will end up in a better worlds. Here mrityum tirtva is end up in Swargadi Lokas only. But vidyaya, when you know the Brahma Vidya, that is amrutamashtate, that will give you amruta tattvam. You will be never taking any life again, because kshine punya martilokam vishanti, again if you go to another loka you will fall down. So that is what. And very famous, Gnaninam api chetamsi devi bhagavati hisa balada krusha mohaya mahamaya prechasi. It will very well happen, prechati. It will very well happen. Even for Gnanis, Jaganmata, the Maya Swarupini, will definitely make them her slave. Just everybody will keep on roaming in the Maya, only thinking, I learned something, I got something. But it is all Bhranti, Maya. It is like we dreamt something, suddenly in the dream I became very rich. When I wake up, it is not. So it will be like that. Third one. Sukhachida khanda vibodha madvitiyam viyadanaladi vinirmite niyojya bhramayati bhava sagare nitantam aghatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. Here again Bhagavad-pada is giving some attributes of Brahman. So such a Brahma Padardam, the Atma Padardam is Sukhachit, that means Sachidanandam. Satya Sachidananda, Chaitanya Ananda, Nitya Ananda Swarupam and Akhandam. So it cannot, you cannot take away that Sachidanandam. Though in serials they will say Bhagavan Krishna also is crying, having tears in his eyes. He will never, he is an Ananda Swarupam. He won't be like that. So Akhanda Anandam, first of all. Vibodham Adviti, Vibodham Advitiyam. He himself is the Gnana Swarupam and Advitiyam. There is no second from this Brahma Tattvam, Parabrahma Tattvam. Though we know that Brahma Tattvam is this great, yet Viyad Analadi Vinirmite Niyojya. We are bound to this Pancha Bhautika Shariram and thinking that is what we are. Viyad Analadi is like Akashadi. That's why we can say Tasmad etasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha. We know that, right? From this Akasha, very well the element, the great element of Akasha came from the Atma. From that again Vayu, Agni, water and also this Prithvi. All these things came into picture. With that Annam, Aushadam, again Purusha, it came like that. So that means there is a Karanam for that. That is what Bhagavad-pada is asking us to think. You know, everything is Pancha Bhautika. So what? There is a cause for that. So understand, this Pancha Bhautikam, when you say Tasmad etasmad Atmana Akasha Samuta, this Akasha itself came from Atma. That means Akasha has a date of birth. By default, date of death will be there. That means the date of merging or dissolving into the cause itself, the Atma itself. Which is permanent now? Atma is permanent. That's why Nityam Akhandam Advitiyam. There is no second from that. This Pancha Bhautika Jagat is completely Karya Jagat. So there is a Karanam. The cause is always there. That is Brahman. Though it is like that, we are wrongly attached to this Pancha Bhautika Shariram and thinking this is me. Brahmayati Bhavasagare Nitantam. So forever we are in this delusionary world of Samsaram, this Janana Marana, Dukkha Hetu Samsara Chakram. How great is the Maya, that deluding us from reality and showing completely different. It is, in fact, it is engaging us properly with all the false things. Like our so-called TV channels, news channels. So we are completely engaged. Whatever they show, we feel that is real and we don't know what is happening in reality. However they show, we are seeing that. That means we are watching things from their point of view. We just believe it. So the reality is going for a check. So that is how even the Maya is doing all these things. Though Brahman is such a great one, we are into this samsaram, thinking this Pancha Bhautika Shariram is me. How can it is me? How can it is permanent? So that is what one should understand. And same in Bhagavad Gita again, somewhere Bhagavan said, how is it operating? Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kam mano buddhi revacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti ashtadha. His ashta prakriti. That's why for Ishvara Dakshinamurti, when you say Ashtamurti will be there. Bhuram bhamsa nalo anilombar maharna dohimam suppuman. Likewise, same concept in Krishna Bhagavan. There are no difference actually. Shiva is Vishnu, Vishnu is Shiva. In fact, both are actually Nirguna Nirakara Parabrahmam. So that is what we have to understand. That's why by Ashtamurti, his Prakriti is operating like an Ashtamurti and causing this kind of Maya to us, engaging us in fact. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hurdeshe arjuna tishtati bhramayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. So that is how Ishvara, though he is in this body, this Panchabhautika body, as appearing as a Jiva, because of our ignorance, we are not realizing, because we are having strong conviction that I am the mind or body. So that is why the Bheda Bhavana came, like we discussed in the first chapter, first shloka. So that's why in reality the fact is Ishvara himself is driving all these bodies, and the delusion what is causing is that avarana vikshepa are the actual power of this Maya itself. Unable to identify the Maya or the Bhagavan is avarana. Thinking Bhagavan as Jiva and Prakriti is vikshepam. So that is what explained in this third shloka. And fourth, apagata guna varna jati bhede sukachiti vipra vidadyaham cha sputayati sutadara geha moham tvagatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. Such a beautiful, these are, we can easily contemplate on this shloka, not even Shravanam. By reading this thoroughly and understanding slowly, that itself will become Mananam for sure. So what Bhagavad Pada is saying is, as usually giving the attributes of Brahman in the first line, apagata guna varana jati bhede. There is no guna varana jati bhedas for Brahman, because it is ekameva advitiyam Brahma sarvam khalvidam Brahma nehana nasti kinchana. There is no second for the Brahman. It is only one, that is Brahman itself, that is Satchidananda Parabrahman itself. So there is no gunas like Trigunas, because it is beyond Trigunas. And there is no varna like Varnas what we have. Maybe you can say color or quality. Sattva rajas tamo gunas there, and varna like Brahmana, Vaisya, Shudra, Kshatriyadi varnas. There is nothing for Brahman in fact. And jati like Stri jati, Purusha jati, like Manava jati, Deva jati, like this there is no difference for the Brahman. That's why I said ekam eva aditiyam Brahma. No swagata sajatiya vijatiya bhedas exist for Brahman. So we have to understand that. Sukachiti vipravidadyaham krutincha. But yet what is happening is, we are wrongly attached to this body and thinking I am Vipra, I am a Brahman, I am something else. We are thinking like that. But if you observe closely, what are these we are attributing to this Varna, Jati, Ashrama dharmas, to this body in fact. So it is not that in dream I have to do Sandhya Vandana. Why not? Because these attributes are explained for Jagrat Avastha. So what I am operating this Mano Buddhi, how are we doing this karmas? Kaya, Vang, Manaha, with the body, mind and walk, by words. So these apply, all these rules, the dharma applies all these for all these three, that Kaya, Vang, Manaha, for all these three. So that's why we cannot say that Brahman has a jati, varna. You cannot say. In movies they will show, if a dog dies, even the soul is like a dog. If a female dies, it is like always the ghost is like a female. If a Brahmana dies, it becomes a Brahmana Rakshasa. It is also a Upandi, at least understand, because we cannot guarantee what they show in movie. Just like that they will show. But it is not. For actually the Atma, the Brahman, there is no attribution of any Guna, Jati, Varna. And because it is always Nitya Anandam also. That's why Shankaracharya said, Chandalostu Satadvijostu Guru Rityesha Manisha Mama. because this Chandala, Brahmana, these attributes are for physical body, Pancha Bhautika body, just we crossed that shloka. So that is same for anybody. But that doesn't mean when I have this identification as a Pancha Bhautika body, but I have to perform the dharma as is, what I belong, where I belong to. But if I have the knowledge of self, that Sarvatma Bhavana, then whether it is Chandala or Brahmana, he is a Guru Tulya. What is that Guru? Ishwaro Guru Atmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagane. So it is that level, Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya said. So that's why the very well this Atma, though it does not have all these kind of differences and attributes, Putayati Suta Dara Geha Moham, yet it is causing you for attachment towards Sutas, your children, Dara, like husband or wife, Gehe, like your home, and many other delusions. It is causing that. Though the Atma does not have any guna, jati, varna, etc., yet it is causing you think that you are something and you have something. So which itself is a wonder, which is an impossible thing done by Maya. Aghatita Gatana Patiyasi Maya. It is expert in making the impossible possible. To understand this one, in Chandogyam there is Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam Mrutyiketyeva Satyam. The Karana Jagat is always came from Karana Jagat, cause and effect. Though that means in this whatever we see as lamps, maybe some clay pots or a clay jar, all these things are made from one clay only. In that clay, it is the clayness, the clay tattva is always been there. With the same raw material of the clay, we are creating some name and form as per our desire and usage. That's why you say it is a glass, it is a bottle, it is a pramitha, the lamp, or a pot, something like that. But though it changes the name and form, from top to bottom, every corner, it is nothing but clay itself. That's why you say clay pot. Clay appearing in the form of a pot. And after some time, the pot or this kind of so-called tools or these things got destroyed completely. Then what is remained? Again the same old clay. That is why prior to the creation, during the process of creation, after the creation or the dissolution, the thing what remains is always Brahman. How? Vacharambanam Vikaro Namade Mrutyiketyeva Satyam. How the clay remained as a clay before it is getting converted or converted to a pot. When it is seen as a pot, it is nothing but clay actually. When the pot is destroyed, the clay is still there. So that is how we have to understand. The Karanam is there, the cause is there. These are all name and form superimposed. How? Like so-called ahankara, mamakaras, the attachments. And in Bruhadaranyakam again, there is excellent teaching is done. Nava are patyuh kamaya patih priyo bhavati atmanastu kamaya patih priyo bhavati. Likewise, atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati, atmanastu kamaya putra priya bhavati, atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. It's a very big mantra and very easy and very beautiful one. So here the example is why I love my wife. Is it the love? Is she a form of love? No, because I have some requirement towards her. I have some attachment or feelings towards her. That is why she becomes so dear to me. I keep on giving one example. Think I like rasgulla. I keep buying rasgulla. Example, okay? So why I am buying rasgulla? Because when I am consuming it, I feel happiness. Now the question is can I pass a statement that is rasgulla cause for happiness? No. If anybody say yes, why the shopkeeper should sell it? He will not, right? For him the money is the cause of happiness. And the same rasgulla, if I eat like 10 or 15, then my happiness will turn to a dukkha hetu. So what happened to that happiness? What is that yum feeling? It is gone. At least for 10-15 days I'll say, do not talk about rasgulla in front of me. What happened? So the happiness never, the ananda never existed in the padartha, in the name and form, because name and form are temporary. They came in time, they go in time. They have that limitation of time and space. But the ananda tattvam always been there, and that is my own form. I am attributing, or I am imposing my ananda, my interest on that padartha, and consuming it and thinking that rasgulla is good, and my wife is good, my children are good, my husband is good for me. It is not. Unless they are favorable to me, they are good. If not, they turn to be enemies. So that's why atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For my own sake, I am loving everything. It is a fact, in fact. So, but what to do then? Then nava are sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati, atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. That's why understand the atma tattvam. Atmavare drashtavya shrotavyo mantavyo nidhigyasitavyo maitreyi. Hey Maitreyi, understand about this atma tattvam. This is permanent. So listen about that. Do mananam, do contemplate, remain in that bliss. That is what they are telling. Atmanova are darshanena shravanena matva vijnanena edam sarvam viditam. When you understand the atma tattvam, you know everything. How you will know everything? That everything is gnamatram, it is satchidanandam only. Everything else is superimposed or temporary. Brahma satyam, jagan mithya. That is what you will understand. And last shloka in Maya Panchakam. Vidhi harihara vibhedamapya khande bata virachayya budhanapi prakamam Brahmayati harihara bheda bhava aghatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. So people with the deluded mind, with the Bheda drushti, Bhranti drushti, Maya drushti, you can name anything. So these people see differences between gods, among gods. Who? Sakshat Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara only. Vidhi, Hari, Hara, Vibhedam Apya Khande. Actually these three are akhanda form of Parabrahma Tattvam only. Saguna Sakara Parabrahmam, when it itself became three forms of Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara. That is Akhanda Chaitanyam. Yet the deluded minds, this Dvaita Bharanti people see everything differently. Like Brahma is different, Vishnu is different, Shiva is different. Bata virachayya budhanapi prakamam. Bata, ayyo, it is like, oh my God. Even intellectuals who studied scriptures are unable to understand this because they are selective learners. They are cherry picking from shlokas and say, we belong to Vaishnavas, we belong to Shaivas, we belong to Shaktayas, or we don't belong to Advaita or Vedanta at all. We do something else. We have our own sectarian institution. We live there, we die there, like a frog in a well. So they became like that. So because they also studied, but they are affected by Maya itself. Jnaninam api chetamsi, that's why. So that's why they are also making mistakes and seeing differences in the Bhagavat Tattvam itself. Brahmayati harihara bheda bhava. Though there is no difference between this harihara, but they are deluded and having this differences between that hariharadas, you can say, starting from there. They see Vishnu and Shiva are different. See, such a beautiful, Shiva means Mangalam, Shivam Advaitam. Shiva is Mangalam, auspicious. The Brahman is auspicious. Vishnu is all pervading, Veshti Vyapnoti. If that all pervading Vishnutvam is not Mangalam, not Shivam, then what is of that use? Not required. And if that Brahman which is Shivam, which is Mangalam, is not all pervading, it is in one place, then what is it for me? So that's why the same Brahma Padardam tat sruštva tadevanupravishat, it itself created everything and it itself in everything. It itself is Shivam, it itself is Vishnu. But it is the Maya is causing the delusion, that's why it is very impossible, but yet it happened because the Maya is an expert in creating the delusion, making impossible possible. Aghatita Gatana Patiyasi Maya. In Kaivalya Upanishad it is clearly said, Sa Brahmas Sa Shivas Sendras Sokshara Paramaswarat. The Brahman itself is Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, Aksharam, Paramam, everything. Likewise in Bhavishya Purana there is a verse, Vishnor anyam tu pashyanti yemam brahmanam evava kutarka matayo mudhaha pachyante narakeshwadaha. Whoever sees, Shiva is saying, Lord Shiva, whoever seeing differences between me, Brahma and Vishnu, they are completely deluded, ignorant. Kutarka matayo, they have a very illogic, wrong, false logics. They are unable, and mudhas, they are deluded. They are in Brahma Bharanti. Pachyante narakeshwadaha. They will end up in Naraka, hell. So Bhagavan is saying, go to hell to them, in fact. And another place he said, Yecha mudha duratmano bhinnam pashyati mam harehe brahmanam cha tatastasmat brahmahatyasamam tvagam. So people who see differences between Harihara Brahmadis, they are doing a huge sin. It is equivalent to Brahmahatya itself. In Gita also it is clearly said, right, whatever form you worship, I myself is granting the boons. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. Very clear. And in fact Gita talks about proper Advaitam. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. It did not even talk about Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. It said about everything. The person who possesses the Vidya, he will have the Vinayam, that humbleness by default. Brahmane Gavi Hastini, though that person, that Gnani, Pandita Samadarshinaha, that Pandita Atmagna, the Atmagnani, he will see no difference in Brahmana Janma, who is a Manushya Janma, and Gavi, the cow, Hastini, elephant, Shuni, this dog, Swapakecha, the person who eats dog meat, like a Chandala, he won't see difference in them, because Pandita Samadarshinaha, Pandita will say everything same. That is Sarvatma Bhavana. That is what Gita is teaching us, to see equal, to see everything as equal, one Atma Tattvam. That is the, technically we have to achieve that. So by this we are concluding, and I'll give you pramanas of Advaita Vakyas in the Upanishads. Few, like Ekameva Advitam Brahma is there. Even Mahavakyas you can see, this Pragnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, these are from Vedas directly. Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma, these are all completely saying I am the Brahman. You and that Brahman are same. That one which is knowing, that Pragnanam is Brahman. It is thinking like that. And in Mandukya Upanishad, Prapanchopa Shamam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyaha. So after, beyond all these three states, there is Chaturda state, which is beyond all these three states. Understand that is Shivam Mangalam Advaitam. The Advaitam word is used in Upanishad. So that is Atma, that is you. That's what we have to know. And we know a Shanti Mantram like Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. All these things are there. With the wholeness, there come the Jagat, and the Jagat is also with wholeness. When it is dissolved, the wholeness remained. That means completeness. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuteshu Gudaha Sarva Vyapi Sarva Bhutantaratma. So these are from Shvetashvara Upanishad. These are like straight, I guess you are able to understand directly. So Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. There is only one Brahman that wise men speak. So likewise Sarva Nehanana Sinchana Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. See Advitiyam, which is Advaitam, again mentioned in Upanishad. Like directly there are some verses. And there are many other, like Brahma is everywhere. You have so many, in fact, just in the with the respect of time, I am concluding here. In Bhagavad Gita also, Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshana. See how beautiful. Who sees himself in everything and who sees everything in himself. He is the Samadarshi, he is a yogi. This is what Bhagavad Gita teaching. We have to understand the Sarvatma Bhavana. That's what Bahunam Janmanamante Gnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. It is very difficult. One in case like Prahalada will witness Sarvatma Bhavana like that. So by saying this, I am concluding today's Maya Panchakam by contemplating on Advaita Bhavana. Sarvam Shri Guru Charanarvindarpamastu. Shruti Smriti Purana Namaliham Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Hara Namah Parvati Pate Hara Hara Mahadeva. Shanti 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 Swasti Mahadeva.